नमः सर्वेभ्यः सुस्वागतम्। श्रूयते वा?
आं महोदय, नमस्कारः।
नमस्कारः। अस्तु, प्रारम्भं करिष्यामः। प्रार्थनेन करिष्यामः। ॐ गणनान्त्वा गणपतिं भवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणान् ब्रह्मणस्पत आनुशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। ॐ प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवते धीनामवित्र्यवत् आनो दिवो बृहतः पर्वतादा सरस्वती यजता गन्तु यज्ञम् हवन् देवी जुजुषाणाकृताची शग्मान्नो वाचमुषति शृणोतु श्रीवाग्देव्यै नमः। ओम अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरि ओम श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। सर्वेभ्यः सुस्वागतम्। अस्तु, गतसप्ताहे जवनिका दृश्यते किल? अस्तु, धन्यवादः। सनातनधर्मस्य विचारात् ज्ञातवन्तः। किञ्चित् अद्य तदेव किञ्चित् अन्यविचारान् ज्ञात्वा अर्धविरामं दास्यामः. I wouldn't say that this is the complete. Everything about Sanatana Dharma I have spoken, but I have touched concepts of Sanatana Dharma here and there. I hope with this there is some clarity in people's mind on what Sanatana Dharma is supposed to mean. And what I have touched is probably not even, less than probably 0.001%. In statistical terms, that would be an insignificant portion of what I have touched. The whole concept probably to learn will take a longer time, a much longer time. Okay. So last week we saw what is karma, then how the means to fulfill our desires, that is kama. Kama as a, we said this was the sustainable versus the unsustainable model that we put forth. Said dharma artha kama, that is the right progression. Today we have sort of changed it over to the kama artha dharma model, which is an unsustainable and unwise move. And then we said, this one of how to fulfill through our karma and how karma never ends. This is pretty much what we saw. We also saw what are the different sorts of karmas that are there. Nitya karma and kamyadi karmani. Nayamita karma, kamya karma, nisheda karma, prayashchitta karma. Briefly, I spoke about what these are as well. Then, the accounting principle of karma, we also spoke about this. What is sanchita karma, what is prarabdha, what is agami, so on and so forth. This also we spoke at length. So we said, how the cycle how the karmic cycle goes on. You have a warehouse of all the karma that from the past, that is the Sanchita karma. Then when the Janma begins, whatever form or shape you want to take, you get a baggage. You load the whole baggage from this warehouse, and then get on to a journey called life. It could be on a cycle, it could be on a Ferrari, it could be on an aeroplane, it can be on a jet, it can be on a body, like human body, whatever you want to take it. You fly, there are 84 lakh species through which we can come through and we can do. That's what we say. And that is the cycle is a small representation of that, perhaps. Then one of the three things can happen. You just exhaust everything and go back and say, okay, I don't add anything back. You complete your exhaust, you exhaust your bag, add a few more things, take it back. The other thing is you add a lot more things and take it back. Either of the three things can happen. But the whole idea is all this necessarily needs to be exhausted in this lifetime. That is the idea. In that lifetime, whatever has come as prarabdha cannot be taken back. There is no way you are going to take that back. You can add agami as much as you want. You are free to load, that is free will. Okay. Now we'll move on from here. Okay. Now, how does this happen in the macro space? Does it mean that there is no way that we can exhaust and get out of this entire cycle? Is it like a loop that we keep on going forever? There is actually a way out. What is that way out? If you go back here, every time you see this is the beginning of everything. Kama. That is the desire. The moment you say, I have quenched and enough of all my desires. At least you make that initial thought comes into our minds. All right. Then we have a sort of a small idea. Okay, probably now I will start reducing my desires. Right. The moment you say that, then a little different path takes over. So one of these steps you can eliminate. Either this you can eliminate or this you can eliminate, through which you get an exit path. So this shrinks. Right. So shrinking this slowly over time, you can exhaust, you can go back with only give up the body and go back. And slowly this starts getting this accumulated stuff goes on going away. And once this is all gone, it is like, having something empty space. So everything is open now, and you sort of are open and you are free to merge back with that same consciousness that said, let's have that sa kama so kamayata. So it becomes one and everything is cleared out. That this mask that is shrouding all of us, this whole thing which is probably, I don't want to call it junk or non-junk or whatever, which is shrouding that or masking all that pure consciousness, will take it away. Okay? So that is the idea of doing it. That is the way it can be done. Okay? So now let's see how that can actually manifest. Just give me 1 minute. Sorry about that. So this is how it keeps on going. We saw this. The Janma begins, and once the Janma begins, you start with your action. There is no concept of Krishna is very clear in Bhagavad Gita saying, there is no such thing called, even if you are sitting quietly and doing nothing, that is also action. That means you have chosen not to act on anything. That's all. That's also a concept of action going on. Something is happening there. All right. So given that there is one's own nature that you bring in based on the karma that is there, then there is this concept of free will. Acting, not acting, partially doing things, wholeheartedly doing, everything is an action. Now, should I say it should be a result oriented? I am expecting a good result or a bad result or something. It leads to another set of, I want a car. Okay, I got a car. Fair enough. I work towards it. Now, that is a debt. I want a bigger car. I want probably a jet, a ski, whatever. And then that leads to a whole set of, triggers a whole set of things, and it goes on and on. So, this is one cycle. Another cycle, come here, say, okay, fair enough. I don't have any expectation of results. Or I do what is called karma phala tyaga. Somebody had asked this question last time. Can I do a karma tyaga? No, you can never do a karma tyaga. You can do what is called a karma phala tyaga. Whatever comes, I'll accept. Not that, please remember, karma phala tyaga does not mean you will give up all the karma phala that comes and go away. No. That is not what it means. You say, I'll wholeheartedly accept whatever comes. At the same time, I'll offer it back to the Paramatman and say, okay, this is what my karma phala is, and give it as dana, not in dana, give it back and say, thank you so much for whatever you have given. I'll move on from there. Accept wholeheartedly and move on. So that can be done only through a pious lifestyle. One of the ways is through yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. That's what Krishna says. So slowly there's an exhaustion of vasana. This is that path where I was talking, prarabdha karma. You go back, you say there is nothing much. Then you go back and check whether this is everything is exhausted. If yes, then comes the jnana vichara. You get into a jnana state and start conceptualizing and vichara and everything. Then it comes to a state of moksha or mukti. Should this not be done, again you go back. However, you go back with a lesser baggage here. That's the only difference. Okay, this is the macrocosm. That is in the broader scheme of things. After the comma called death, what happens and how do you do it? Now, let's see what happens when you are doing within this life cycle. How does this whole life cycle begin? That is, from the concept of, say, the Om to the Tom, as Swami Chinmayananda once put it beautifully. I like that concept of Om to Tom journey. The Om to Tom journey. First of all, how do you get into that Om part? You have prarabdha karma. This is what decides which family needs to be chosen and where I need to be born. Simple. Very, very simple. So, Gauri Mahadaya had asked this question that, somebody brought me to this planet Earth. Why am I responsible? How am I even responsible for all the things? Why am I suffering? Right? Sorry, just that you don't remember what you did in your previous birth. That's about it. That's the very simple and straightforward answer. The prarabdha karma that you have chosen chooses the family. Choose how to exhaust the best way to exhaust it. Based on that, you come in. That is one input that makes you as a body, that gives you your manas and all those states. Then there is one more thing that you get because of the surrounding that you have chosen. That is this guna. Now, guna in short, if I were to say, this is some sort of, if I were to say, gunas would be, the genetic thing that you inherit from your ancestors. There is a prarabdha that we have brought, then there is a genetic inheritance that you do. Together is what forms your life. That is the sampat that we bring. Now, this is the sampat that is basically, if you go to the 14th chapter, there is a lot of, in fact, Devasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga is there in the 17th chapter. No, sorry, what is that? 16th chapter. Devasuri Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. That is one. Then there is a Shraddha. Then there is a concept of Shraddha. Then there is Varna. Now, what is Varna? We'll discuss today in detail. So, this whole concept comes together to form the body and the mind and all the things that are there. So, there are totally 24 components as per Sankhya. That is basically the Pancha Gnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Bhuta. Pancha Bhuta is the Stula Sharira that we get. Then the external Pancha Tanmatra. I don't know if you have heard of this term Tanmatra. We've all heard of Pancha Gnanendriya, Karmendriya and Pancha Bhuta. These are very clear. But Pancha Tanmatra are that sense of what makes us that what makes us sense these things. That is basically the sense of smell, the sense of taste, the sense of sparsha, the sense of this, what is that? Seeing. Okay. And rasa. Rasa sparsha, shabda rupa rasa sparsha gandha. That is what it is. That is the vibratory, this one is the shabda, and that comes from the akasha. Then each of the panchabhutas will have their own tanmatra. So these are the 20. Panchabhuta, Panchaprane, Karmendriya, Pancha Gnanendriya, Pancha Tanmatra, then Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. These are the 24 that are there that constitute the body and the whole physical self and the surrounding. Then we get into performing a lot of activities starting here. By the way, the numbers that you see are all Bhagavad Gita chapter and the shloka numbers, where you can find the shlokas related to them. Okay? Then, given there is a free will, component of free will acting while you are performing the activity. You can choose to perform the activity as per your true nature. You can choose to perform your activity against your true nature. You can choose to perform the activity partially or impartially or with or without all results and everything. You can choose not to perform the activity and sit away and while away your time. All these are possible, and that's what free will endows you with. And that is only possible with human beings, by the way. That is the beauty of a human being. No other form of life has that concept of free will. That's why up to the human being, it's a straightforward progression. You don't have choices. As a human being, you get this choice. The reason is this spiritual trajectory that you can take up. You can choose to get there, you can choose not to get there. Right? Then there is a vasana samskara that comes in. Then the recursive path all the way it starts, and once you get into that tone and womb, this whole journey goes back and comes. So this is the path that goes on from the womb to tomb journey. Now, there can be a question that, where was that? One's true nature. How the nature is determined. What is one's true nature? What is the nature itself? Right? So let's understand this nature. How does it come about? How many of you know the concept of RGB values? No, never heard of RGB values? Okay, those who have come with a basic science background, they will know it is. It is
Red,
basically a
red, green,
concept
blue.
of red, blue, green. Yes, right, Vikram Madhya. Red, blue, and green. So let me just demonstrate it a little bit. What happens when you mix these so-called colors? Okay, let's see. Okay, everybody can see the screen now. So this is this one. I can vary these. If you look at this, just observe this small box here. It's all fully white now, current and new. Correct? So all this is white now, right now. Right? So let me change this. I can have any value in these three cells ranging between 0 and 255. Okay? So let's make 0, 0, 0. Let's go from 0, 0, 0. What happens? Everything became black. Right? Let's say I have only, this is 255. It became fully blue. Right? Now, if I make this completely 0 and if I make this 255, this is fully green. Right? I make this 0, I make this 255. This is red. Now, let us say I make this 150. I get this orange. Right? Let's say I add one more shade. This became some sort of a. Please don't ask me. I am a bit color. I am not very good with colors. There are a lot of women, so I beg myself strictly out of this to say that what is this right color. Please, you can choose what this color is. So I will leave it there. Okay. I'll not hazard calling this color anything. Okay. So let us say I go with 140. It becomes something else. Similarly, I can change this to 100 and it becomes something else. Right? So I can make this 0. I can make this 50. Similarly, I can vary this as well. I can make this 100. Okay, this is something like a purple violet sort of thing. Probably I understand this color a little. Fair enough. So, okay, this is something, somebody told me this is teal, so I should remember that teal. So fair enough. Okay, all right. So this is the kind of combination that we can do. Similarly, our life, our true nature is also made of three components. Let us see what those components are. They are called Sattva Guna, Rajas Guna, and Tamas Guna. All right. Now, what are these? These are basically, let's say, the similar gradation. Instead of 0 to 255, I'll just take 0 to 1. And then for each of these, the whole idea is the sum of all these should be 1 in some ways. Okay, let us say that is the whole concept of it. Strictly, it may not be, it may hold, it may not hold, but nevertheless, this is what it is. So what do you do if you have a lot of sattva guna and you have got a lot of that coming from somewhere, then you're most likely to be a Brahmana. Okay. Now the idea, the only problem or only thing is there I could choose anything between RGB. They were mutually independent of each other. Here, the gradation has to be clear. I can't have the gradation cannot be like this. A dominant one cannot have a lower dominant of rajas and a higher dominance of tamas. That is not possible. If I have a very high sattva, I need to have a rajas which is higher than tamas. That is a given. That is a rule. Similarly, if I have too high tamas, I cannot have a sattva which is higher than rajas. So that's why we will be eliminating these two possibilities. All right. So let us say you have a dominant code of rajas here. Okay. And very little sattva, you get into the Vaishya mode. If you have a dominant rajas with a little higher sattva and lower tamas, that is, you're extremely active. You're a very jumping person and very into it. So you'll have a Kshatriya characteristics. Okay. Similarly, if you get into this high tamas mode, that is when you become a Shudra, this one. So, this is where the Krishna's shloka comes in very clearly. And how did we derive this sort of? This is the shloka for which it is coming from. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah tasya kartaram abhiman vidyat kartaram avyayam. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam. This whole concept of Chaturvarna, this is the Varna. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay. Now there are roles and responsibilities based on these. Based on this, you can assume roles and responsibilities. I'll just tell what those roles and responsibilities. These are created by me. Based on guna and karma of a person. Very clear. The guna comes from one side, the karma comes from the other side. Based on these two, this is a concoction that you get out of those combination. Okay. And his kartara, the kartara who is there, who is offering this, apimam vidyat kartaram avyayam. That the Atman which is there is shrouded by this sattva, raja and guna karma. Sattva, raja and tamo guna. Given that shrouding of the true Atman, this is what this Chaturvarnya is coming out of these. Okay. Now imagine where you are in a very highly thinking position. That is the role of a Brahmana. Assume that you are in a high role of an administrative post where you need to do things and you are extremely ideating and creating a lot of, implementing a lot of ideas around. That is the Kshatriya mode. If you are highly economically thinking and know very well how to make enough money, fantastic. Welcome to the Vaishya mode. By the way, these are the set of people who are the richest. In our class of things, they are the richest of everyone, along with the Shudras. These people are expected to live out of alms. The Kshatriya lives out of the payments made by these out of a fear for their lives to him. That is it. That is how the whole administrative system works. Okay. So if somebody comes and says, that religion or anything should be separated from the state and you should keep that. No, that is not possible. In ours, everything is, both are exactly the same. We are already, the administrator has no clue, no role in earning the money. No, administrators don't run businesses. Let's be very clear. The businessmen don't administrate. All right. And this is the first time, it's only in the past 70 years that we have turned agriculture into a non-business activity. Sorry, that was never the state of this country for its existence in the so many of its years. Very clearly, Bhagavad Gita is very, very clear on that. Krishi, Vanijya, Krishi, all these things come under the business class. Let's be honest. That is what it is supposed to be doing. It is supposed to be a livelihood, not just a livelihood, a well-earning livelihood. Pashu Sampatti and Krishi, these are things along with whatever other things that you do. You can industrialize, no problem, that's fine. But that cannot be a non-industry, sorry, not accepted. Okay. So this is the service class. As the you can be doing all the service sector things. Whatever we are doing as the IT coolies around are all in this class somewhere. So let's be very clear about that as well. That's also the service sector around. Okay. So this is what creates, and this is more of a based on the nature of, based on your nature, what role you have chosen for yourself. Okay. So this defines the nature and the role. Now, there's a difference between Varna and Jati. We have millions of, if not millions, at least a few thousands of Jatis all floating around. So let's not confuse Varna and Jati. Now, anybody and everybody will tick one of these boxes. I'll just show you in a minute how. Okay. Then comes Varna. Okay, I have put this. I should have put that Varna and Ashrama. So Varna plus Ashrama becomes Varnashrama. Now, what is an ashrama? Ashrama is a place where we are all put up at any point in time. That is a place of resting. That's what the concept of ashrama is in Sanskrit. Okay. Now, what is Varnashrama Dharma? You have a Varna. Everybody will choose a Varna. Now, there are certain ashramas. What are the ashramas? Our ashramas are Brahmacharya, Grahastha, then Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. Okay. Now, what is the role of each of these, Varna and Ashrama, to be put together? This is from Raghuvamsham. How the Raghuvamsha kings lived. And this is, I have just taken the shloka. There are umpteen in Vedas that we can bring out. I didn't want to put so much into it. Prajaye Grahamedinam Shaishave Abhyasaha Shaishavebhyasta Vidyanam Yavane Visheshaishinam Vardake Munivrittinam Yoge Nante Tanutyajam Raghunamanmayam Vakshye. Okay. How did the Raghu kings live? That is the Raghu Vamsha, the lineage. You can start with, Ikshvaku, and then came Raghu, Nahusha, Dilipa, and all that. There's an order, and in the end, towards the later stages, Rama and Lakshmana and all these people are also there in that. So, in that lineage, how did they live? They dedicated their married state or the grahastha to the well-being of the progeny. That is what they dedicated. They pursued their studies in their boyhood. Shaishavebhyaha taha vidyanam. For the sake of studies, they devoted their boyhood, long for pleasures in their youth, full of youth, all sorts of pleasures, sensory pleasures. Take it, yes, that's what you are there for, your youth. You're supposed to do all those things. Yeah, that's what your youth is for. Do it. No, nobody has stopped you from doing those. Led a sort of an ascetic or the sages or the munina, munivritti nam vardhake, when they were getting old. And at the end of it, they just went by dropping their bodies like nobody even knew what happened through the means of yoga. Yogena ante tanutyajam. Yogena, by means of yoga, ante, in the end, they gave up their bodies. That is how they lived. So this gives us a sort of this one on Varnashrama, how one is expected to lead a life. The 100 or the 120 years or whatever our life is supposed to be. This is how we need to sort of plan it out. Sort of, this is gives a good this one. Now let's look at this Varnashrama for a minute. That's why I said Jati and Varna are very different. And look at this. Is there anyone who has not devoted their time in their early stages towards learning brahmacharya in any of these four categories? Will all of us take one of these categories at any point in time of our life? So I can call this the time dimension or the temporal dimension. This is how I need to pass on my this one. From brahmacharya to grihastha to vanaprastha to sannyasa. Correct? And similarly, this is my spatial dimension. I can be in any of these spatial dimensions at any point in time. I can take all four in this. I can start from here, I can go all the way till here. No problem. You can move from anywhere to anywhere on this scale. Just that you can't skip a box. That's about it. You need to take one of these in each and go. Because the time is in some sense a continuous variable. It is not a discrete variable. Okay, sorry, I'm talking a little too much in data because I come from a data background. For those of you who are not aware of it, basically you can't say that it is 7 o'clock now and suddenly I go to 9 o'clock. No, it can't happen. There has to be a 7 to 8 and only 8 to 9. It can't be that I'm at 7 o'clock right now and then I jumped all the way to 10 o'clock suddenly. There has to be a transition. Whether you are present at that point time in somewhere or you are not doing, that's a different story. We can all debate that and take it. But that time has to go in a particular way. Okay. So that is what it means. All right. Now, good. I think, yeah, Gauri Modaya and not Gauri Modaya. I think, yes, Parvati Modaya.
You have done it. You said that anybody can, at any point of time, you can move from one of the varnas to the others. So do you have to have a certain guna to do the jump? Because you said the guna that you come with decides where you're born. So this shifting, you can acquire the guna or it is what you're born with?
Yeah. So as I said, there is this whole concept of free will, how you act.
Yeah.
Now, it is not something that you can easily do. It is not something that, there is this whole concept of, okay, there's a beautiful, thank you. Thank you for bringing this up. So, Arjuna asked one question to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. There is this state where I am, there is something that is very, very forcing me, even though I want to do something, I cannot do it. It is forcing me to act against that. It's like saying, I don't want to eat that jamun which is lying there. But then, I'm so tempted and I'm so forced, I want to eat it. right? Or sometimes I get so angry that I really yeah, I don't want to hit that fellow. I don't want to get angry at him. But there's something forcing me to get angry about him because of his act or because of his behavior or whatever that reason. I cannot control. What is this happening in me? Why is this so strongly deciding? So if we go back here, this Rajas sits right in between. This is like a monkey. So Krishna clearly says, Kama esha krodha esha rajat gunat samadbhava. So that Kama and Krodha together, what is there? Coming from the Purva Samskaras and the Prarabdha, is forcing this Rajas Guna to act upon you in a particular way. Now, how much of this is actually there is actually deciding which direction you are going to go and how much of that control and how much of that channelizing that energy that you are doing is actually going to test you and put you in that direction. Right. So to answer your question, if that is channelized well, it can be channelized to creating a surrounding around you which is very, very clean and green and nice and things. It can be channelized by saying, okay, I learn from others' mistakes. I'll try to do certain other yogic kriyas or do it. Right? I can say I can control my mind slowly over time, do a meditation or things like that. So there are ways and techniques to do it. You can definitely change you need not, if you have come with a very, very dominant Rajas Guna or a Sattva Guna or a Tamas Guna at the beginning, it's quite possible for you to move entirely in a 180-degree opposite to this one by the time you have reached some state. But that's a slow process to change that nature. Shanai, Shanairu Paramed. That's what Krishna says in the 6th chapter. Yeah.
What helps you make that change?
What helps me make that change? That's a good question. Now, there are many factors that helps me make that change. First of all, the intent. As we saw in this shloka, where is that shloka? Where is that? I think I may take the slide out. The intent. No. Okay. 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 Leave it. Let's. This one correct. Adhishtanam tada karta karancha prutak vidam vividhamscha prutak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. Depending on the result that I get, I can change my idea based on one of these 5. These are the 5 things based on which my results are dependent upon. Right? So, any of these 5 that are acting on me, I have the free will to change back. This gives me a good hint as to how do I change back. So, my result is dependent on these 5. I know that now for good. Adhishtanam is the surrounding. Karta is myself, my inner self saying, maybe I should not do this. Maybe this is right. Maybe that is right. That depends. That is the guna. Karana. I don't have the skills. Okay, I give up on the skill. That is going back to the tamagun. I don't want to acquire that skill. Right? Then the other activities that are affecting this is sometimes in my control, sometimes not in my control. then there are natural forces that beyond my control altogether. I'll give a very simple example, for instance. Let us say there were two people, two farmers, right? And one particular year it did not rain. One farmer thought this year also it will not rain. So he did not even prepare the field. There were all sorts of waste and everything there. The other farmer prepared the field, kept it all right, sowed the seeds, and did everything that he would do. Right. Now, this year he also did not know that it would rain. That fellow thought it would not rain. He had assumed that it would not rain. So the other fellow, what do you think if it rains this year? Right. This fellow will have a harvest. That fellow will probably end up spending a lot of money cleaning his field. Now, that's the change. Both of them had the option to choose what they wanted to do. There was a natural force that got them to do make those choices. In both the coming to us every now. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Any other questions?
But you said when you're born, you're with a certain ratio of the three gunas, the rajas, tamas, and so if my tamas is very high, how am I crossing that hurdle?
Start working.
Okay.
To some extent, force yourself if needed.
Yeah, if I don't have the intellect to do that, the sattva.
Not necessarily. You can create a surrounding that is full of sattva. Bhaja Govindam is beautifully saying Satsangatve, Nitsangatvam, Nisangatve, Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve, Nischalatattvam, Nishmohatve, Jivan Mukti. So there are indicators in our Shastras where they say, okay, you can't do it all by yourself. Agreed. There is no problem. Try getting into a satsanga. Try getting into a place where everyone is very active, where everyone is only doing sattva things. That has an influence on you,
But supposing I'm in an environment where everybody is like me, and I don't know what to aspire for, I could
try changing it.
Yes. No, because my thing was came like it's from this thing that you have up here now. Supposing I'm a Shudra and I have tamas of 60 and a rajas of 30 and a sattva of 10. Yeah.
Okay.
How do I know what to aspire for? I'm in a surrounding with people like me. How do I know what to aspire for? How I get to a better place? How do I even know there's a better place?
So that's where the role of the guru and the role of the devas come in, as in the external environment where there is what is also called a vidhi.
Yeah.
There's also what is called natural progression of things that need to happen. So the concept is that everyone will at some point get to moksha. So there is nothing like somebody has just left you there in the lodge. As I said, we are all products of that divinity.
Yeah.
So there is something that's guiding beyond our understanding.
Control. Okay. Got it.
Right.
Thank you.
So that will put you in the right place at the right time at the right opportunity. But you can also have an intent to start looking at things. See, what that external force can advise to is put an intent to check what is it that I need.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Who helps me get that intent? Okay, some external force. Okay. That was my main question.
Take it as that, or your own prarabdha, or whatever has happened in the past, whatever.
Yeah. And so another question,
multiple things can help. Okay. One is either the prarabdha because of which you have now by chance get according to something, and you have got a high tamam guna. And then there is something which you have done in the past, which is probably now igniting you to say, no, probably I should change myself.
Okay.
Probably you meet someone randomly and that person changes. That person implants an idea.
Okay.
You look around something and suddenly something strikes. Multiple ways that can come. So there's nothing like you're left in a lurch. That is never the case.
Another question I had, Mahoday, is what was that? When we do karmas, you said we all pass through the 4 stages. So of course you're collecting. Like when I say, okay, you're going to start a family, you're going to do things that is good for your family. That could be good, bad. So how can I get rid of those baggages? I mean, you do collect a lot of karma as you live life.
Yes, absolutely. We are going to collect a lot of things.
Yeah. So, but you said finally you can get moksha. How when I'm doing stuff and some good, some bad?
Moksha need not, as I said, the moksha need not be in this life in this life itself. One. Second, karma phalatyaga is the first step, as Krishna points out. Or you can pursue the moksha marga differently. There are multiple ways. Bhakti marga is there. Jnana marga is there.
So will those margas negate all your actions?
No, it does not negate your actions. It negates the fruits of your actions. It prevents you from accumulating further karma that is generated out of the fruits of your action.
Okay.
It does not negate your current action at all. By no means, you can't do that.
So how do you get out of the cycle? So if you're going to be, be a normal human being, you're collecting a lot of karma.
Yes.
I mean, if you live life, like you said, the 4 varnas and everything.
Yeah. Even otherwise you're collecting. If you're not living by that also, let's say you just are a brahmacharya, you don't become a grihastha, you go anywhere, you're still collecting a lot of things. Yes, that's bound to happen. There is no getting away from it. Let's be honest. So the way is that karma phala tyaga, concept of whatever comes, sharanagati and karma phala tyaga is one. What samarpada buddhi.
So basically you mean whatever happens, I offer it to God. It's not mine. Whatever I do, good, bad, ugly.
You do not say it is not mine.
Yeah.
You say I am responsible for it, accept it wholeheartedly, and then you offer it to God. You know, that is the difference between a Semitic way of offering and our way of offering. I'll come to Dana in a minute. Hang in there.
Okay. Dhanyavada, Mahoday. Sorry I took up so much time.
Yes. No problem. That's important because you need to accept, then you say, I am offering it fully back. So whenever you do yajna, you will say, Indraya idanna mama, Agdaye idanna mama, Vayave idanna mama, etc., etc., etc. So that idanna mama is very, very important. This is not mine anymore. Fully given up. So far it was mine. Now I have fully given up. That's how you say that it is out of me. That wholeheartedly with your full mind, you have to start doing it continuously, consciously. That is one step. That's one way of doing it. Then there is the Sharanagati Marga. Then there is the Gnana Marga. Then there is the Bhakti Marga. You have so many ways of doing it. So don't worry about it. So there are enough ways. Our Acharyas have taught us many, many ways of doing it. Even after they have double distilled out whatever all these people have put out. All right. Okay. So now, Jyoti, I was having some conversation yesterday with Jyoti Mahodaya, and that's where this whole idea came up. I wanted to talk about yajna, but then I thought instead of talking of yajna, it's very important that I speak of grihastha ashrama. So our point was, what is the role of women in the society and how does it, what is the point of view that Sanatana Dharma puts out? Is it, where did this whole concept of I am responsible for everything going wrong, whereas somebody else is responsible for everything going right, and why is the women always taking the blame and never be happy? Some, the general forms that we all get. So I thought I should just put this out and put out the role of the Grihastha which is very, very critical to the sustenance of the Varnashrama Dharma itself. First of all, if I go back to this, I'm sure all of us have been in a learning stage at some point, right? No burden of earning, no burden of doing any sort of no botheration of what happens tomorrow, whether I get food to eat, not get food to eat, no such things. I will keep getting, it will all happen. That is possible only if there is one ashrama, which is the Grihastha ashrama, somebody supporting, whether it's our own parents or somebody else's parents. In the earlier times, it was like they used to go to Gurukula. So let me tell you why this is important. The first thing that a brahmachari is taught after his upanayana is in fact at the time of the upanayana itself. That is there is the Gayatri Mantra Upadesha which the father gives. That is the key thing. Okay. Immediately after that, he does not get into even before he is getting into the Sandhyavandana portion. There are 3 words that are taught to him. Bhavate Bhiksha Dehi. Even before he goes to that Vatavriksha or whatever, Bhavate Bhiksha Dehi. Give me food to eat. Beg. That is possible only if there is an ashrama called Grihastha ashrama, which is sustaining that. Otherwise, there is no learning for that, so for anybody. Right? So, in these days, yes, parents are supporting. Parents are doing it and they are in a Grihastha ashrama, they are doing it. Fine. Otherwise, it was a common societal way of doing it where the Grihastha ashrama is doing. Let's take this Vanaprastha ashrama, where that nobody is earning anything, and it is the people in this Grihastha are actually supporting everything. Sannyasa, let's not even talk. They are also living on alms in a lot of ways with the Bhuta, right? So if there is anybody really supporting a societal life, it's only this Grihastha, and that's why I made a very, very important statement at the very beginning of about 4 weeks back. It is a family that is the base of Indian society. It is not an individual. Right? So let's understand that Grihastha ashrama in a little more detail. What it is. There's a popular understanding that we know from our life that it is some sort of a security in life. It is some sort of a companionship that you get. Some sort of material, sensory pleasure and materialistic wealth and all these things that come with it. Yes, that's a popular understanding. That is true. All this is true. Right? Along with it, there is this, which is like, it is the only, as I said, it is the only institutional mechanism that can uphold, practice, and propagate the entire Dharma. If you take out this, the whole Sanatana Dharma will collapse. Okay. I just spoke about how it supports the other 3 ashramas. Hence, the wife or the Patni is the Sahadharmacharini. She is called the Sahadharmacharini. No individual can ever live on without this family business. Now, let's understand the role of this Sahadharmacharini. What is the role? Again, there are certain popular understanding, which is basically exchange some vows, right? Protect her, do this, do that, etc., etc., etc. Manage a household, take care of progeny and bring up the family, etc. That is a good popular understanding. The Sanatana Dharma's perspective and all that are Vedas and shared common, this one talks about, is a high level of shared social security. This is critical. Nobody, no woman can function without this level of shared social security. What does it mean? Let me talk in today's terms in the economic sense of things, because we are living in an economic sense. In those days, it was more of a protective sense, that environment that people had to be given. Today, law and order is very different situation. So, in the economic sense, whatever is earned by whosoever in the family belongs completely to the family. There is no question of I earn, it is my money, so I spend. The moment you take that out and everything becomes a common family number, it is recognized, by the way, even if you read, this is how it is even worded even in the Hindu undivided family code. If you can go through the code of rules, it will give you a very good thing even in our constitution. Economically, that set becomes a very high level of social security. Once somebody marries and comes in, that is the household responsibility to take care. You take care of that. What is it that she brings into the house? She brings in what is called this Garhapatyagni. So, okay, along with this, once you have the social security, there is no insecurity, inferiority complex, economic independence, all these things is sort of kept outside. Because, again, who earns, who spends is a different story. If you have 5 people in the family, the 2 people earning, both the people's earning is spent for 5 people. There is no thing saying, I earned this, so my so and so will spend so and this and that and that. That doesn't work that way. So the family business is supposed to work that way in the Sanatana Dharma way of living. That has got corrupted. First of all, that itself has got corrupted in a lot of ways. Why it has got corrupted? Various reasons. Who has corrupted it? Various reasons. We can get into it and discuss about it. Starting with Mr. Karl Marx, starting with this whole business of GDP-based economy, where you need to go in a particular way to maximize the GDP of the country. So smaller families are better, which means, what was sufficient for a 10-member family was 1 fridge. Make it 2 5-member families, 2 fridge, 2 refrigerators, 3 each, fantastic, 3 refrigerators, 3 ACs, 3 this one. So, this whole GDP-driven economy has in some ways led to that. In some ways, individual becoming a community, group of individuals becoming community, that has taken away this security. And at the end of it, it has come to the state that we are currently in. Okay? So we have taken away that's one level. What she brings to the family is what is called the Garhapatyagni. This does not exist in that, it cannot come out of a Purusha. It cannot happen without that Agni. That Agni is the Shakti or the vital force of that family which holds that family together. That's why Indian society is necessarily feminine in nature. It's not feministic, it is feminine in nature. Society has to be that. No household activity or ritual ever is complete without the Dharmacharini. You cannot do even a simple sankalpa without her sitting around you. She is the one who has to take that. That is the role given here, right? The moment you say, so which means, what am I saying? It's a very collaborative effort. The family is a very collaborative effort. Grihastha Ashrama is a collaborative effort. The moment you take that collaboration out and induce and infuse a sense of competition into it, you have collapsed the system. And that is where we are running all around the place with nobody knowing what their roles and responsibilities are. And thanks to all the KRA, KPI systems that we have in all the corporates, it has come down to what is in it for me. Right. So the moment you ask what's in it for me, sorry, that's not a family anymore. Okay. So this is where the whole concept is right now. And this is what I just wanted to bring in. I also want to showcase just two charts. What happens when in an highly individualistic society? I just dug up some data, given my data background and I love to run with data. I just brought this chart up. It will speak for itself. If the society moves to a highly individualistic state, this is the state of Netherlands as on today. This is a chart where I'm talking of number of births who are born to a married couple versus an unmarried woman. All right. It was about 1% of the children born were outside of wedlock or in the year 1950. Today, that number stands at 42%. All right. This is enough to showcase something. I don't want to make any more judgment calls on how we want to take our society or what we want in our society. Okay. So this I have you can check up this data. This is Netherlands, by the way. This is not some third world random country in some place which is God-forsaken or anything. No. This is quote unquote a very progressive and a very modern country. Okay. This is one. I'll show you what is the status of our colonial masters. Next. This is live births in England and Wales. Of course, I didn't get the data from 1950 onwards, but this is in 2002. For 20 years I got. Current number stands at close to 50%. All right. Right. So let us decide what we want in our lives. Whether we want a Grihastha or we do not want a Grihastha, and how we want that Grihastha to be there. A competitive one, a collaborative one, or how we want to take it. Okay. With this, I'll just leave out all decisions and all judgment calls to all the individuals who are present here. Okay. These were 2 points that I wanted to make. Jyoti Mahodaya, any further questions, comments that you have on that you wanted to put out? If she's around. Jyoti Mahodaya is here. I think she's left. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So let's move on to something more, the concept of dana. Okay, yajna and dana, that is sort of, primordial to all our things about how we live. As I said, there was this previous shloka of this 3.11 that I had brought. How do you get things and how do you enjoy your karma? How do we fulfill all our desires? Right. So that was through the concept of yajna that I described some time back. You had it, that's what Krishna described it. One level of yajna. Yeah. Sa yajna praja srishtva provacha prajapati arena prasavishyadvam yeshavos tvishta kamadukha. So you milk your cow of desires through this concept called yajna. Devan bhavayataya nena te deva bhavayantu parasparam bhavayantaha shreya paramavapsyatha. Take from the, that is the bhutas, everything from the surrounding. At the same time, give it back. Have a good way of transacting around. So this yajna need not be a physical, just an altar and doing things, sacrifices and everything. It's a give and take. Basically, keep doing that. That is what it is. Now, once you have taken all that, all the riches at quoted Chamaka Prashna also at some point, right? So how we take it, how riches can be and how riches we want to be, etc., etc., etc. Now, how should we utilize that, whatever riches we take into ourselves? Right? How do we use that? Now, that is to be done through, yes, we need to take whatever we need. We need to have whatever we need. We need to take everything that we have. But there is also a concept of give. Now, this give is very different from the Western concept of charity. In fact, the same Bhagavad Gita, it says, the very next shloka, 12th shloka, 11th shloka I just quoted, Ishtan bhogani vo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha tairdattan apradayebhyaha yo bhukte stena yevasaha. Thus, once you got these desired objects, never consume without offering back to someone. Stena. Stena means thieving. You are thieving. If you are not giving back, it is as good as you are thieving and by consuming everything, it is as good as you have taken it by theft and you are just consuming things. That is what this shloka is saying. So this concept of dana is very, very central to our things. So how is it different from charity that the world over people do? So one beautiful thing comes to my mind. About 10 or 11 years ago, Warren Buffett and this guy who was that Bill Gates had come to India and they were, they came to India to say, Indian should start giving more and Indian should do this, that, etc., etc., etc. They started giving a lot of lectures. One of the professors at IIM Bangalore, Professor Vaidyanathan, actually, I think he's now retired, pretty famous actually. He wrote an article back in one of the popular, I think somewhere else, that, please don't come and teach us what giving back means. We don't need to learn from you what giving back means. Let me teach you why it is so. He put out a very beautiful article. I'll probably, if I can find it, I'll share it with everyone around. All right. So in the Western model, you do good or intend to do good to the other person. That's the same thing. Okay. Now, this concept itself is quite different from our dana. There is no such thing as doing good to the other person. Our dana is all about giving up what I have. Now, whosoever I give it is immaterial. I give it to for us, Daridra Narayana is what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said. Somebody who comes to ask for alms, I just give it to him. And thank him because he's come in the form of Narayana to accept whatever I have to do. Okay. So there is no question of doing good. My intent is not to do anything. He has given an opportunity for me to serve. I am thankful to you. That is the bhava with which I need to give. Okay. Is engaged to relieve the other person's state of need. Not necessarily. We give a lot of dana to people who already have a lot of things. There is no problem. You can give. As much as you want to give, you can give it. There is no cost benefit analysis that one does here. So that's exactly the third point. Cost to the donor or benefactor as yet another criterion of pro-social behavior. So this I picked up from a very academic paper, so it is sounding academic as well. So to break it down in simple words, there's a cost-benefit analysis that is going on in the Western model. That's why the CSR concept is quite flawed in a lot of ways. And they have to now start introducing so many clauses. You cannot get this, you cannot take that, so on and so forth. Right. So there is no cost benefit analysis that we do when we are doing a dana. In the Western model of charity, you don't necessarily relinquish ownership of it. You can say you use it, you keep using it. I will then see how to take benefit out of your actions. Okay. Similarly, reciprocating a favor is an accepted practice. I have given you this. What is it that I am getting in return? How do I take it? Now that is not dana. That concept is called yajna for us. That concept is, I give you something, you give me something, that's a transaction. That is money I give, what we buy out. Okay. So in our concept, abnegation of wealth or abnegation of all things. In fact, there is an abnegation of the self. Atma yajnena kalpadam. Yajyo yajnena kalpadam. That's what in the end Chamaka Prashna also says. It starts with prano yajnena kalpatam, pano yajnena kalpatam, vyano yajnena kalpatam, mano yajnena kalpatam. It goes on. You keep on giving back, everything back. All right. Reciprocity of gifts, okay, at some social gatherings, some social functions, okay, you do as a social conduct, that's a different thing. But it is not a requirement. It is not a virtue when you're giving dana. If you're saying it is a dana, you end up with that and say, this does not, it's not mine, it is to the person to whom I am giving, and close it there. There's no expectation of anything in return. That is the difference between a dana. And this dana is very critical to a grihastha. If this is not happening, as it is mentioned in this one, is as good as thieving and taking everything for ourselves. Okay. How do we give that dana? Again, Taittiriya Upanishad is very beautifully saying in this. Shraddhaya deyam. Give it a lot of reverence. Again, Taittiriya Upanishad, in the very next slide, it thumbs its this and says, Ashraddhaya adeyam. Do not ever give with irreverence. If you don't think you cannot, you better stay away and don't give anything. That's okay. But if you have Shraddha, only then you give. Otherwise, don't ever give. Give liberally. As much as you can, you give. Okay? Give it out of a lot of modesty. Don't, go to the podium and say, hey, you know what, I am making this to charity and all. No such events happening anywhere. Give, walk out. Don't even be around. Bhiyadeyam. Give with a sense of a lot of sensitivity to the person who is receiving. Understand his mindset, what is going on. If that person is feeling insulted, there are a lot of times, out of karuna, asthana karuna that you give. Oh, you know what? He does not have anything, so let me give it to him, and don't hurt his swabhimana while giving. The receiver and the giver should be on equal platform. This is what is very, very important. Bhiya deyam, that is, there should be a fear of not insulting the person in you when you are giving a dana. Samvida deyam, wholeheartedly, with a large smile on your face, fulsomeness. It's all yours. Please take it. This is what our Sanatana Dharma practice is all about in Dana. Okay. So with this, we are done. We are pretty much done with what Sanatana Dharma is. There is, of course, the moksha part, which is the parallelly pursued, and as I said, which is like going about. Now, in this whole concept, I have skipped one part, one very, very critical part, and I want to speak about that for about the remaining 5-6 minutes that are there. That is the role of the guru in the entire scheme of things. Right? I did not speak. I deliberately wanted to keep it for the end. Now, the guru, if you look at our lineage, if you look at anybody and you go and ask, who are you? Or if you go to a family person and say, who are you? The first thing they will say is not, my name is so and so. If you look at all our, even when we are taught to do the namaskara, that is when we do this one with the pravara, the first thing that comes is the name of the rishi. It goes on, is it? I can go on with that. Vasishta, Vaishwan, Mitra, Vamadeva, it can go on. Rishi, the rishis who started the Gotra. Then comes the Gotra. The Gotra is again got nothing to do with your ancestors. It is the Rishi, it is the Guru who actually who is actually the preceptor of this whole lineage, who's been teaching, whose followings you are following, and because of whom the whole your entire ancestral lineage exists. Right? Then you say, so and so, I was born in so and so, this one. Rik Shakha Dhyayi, or what is that Shakha that we have? Then so and so, son, so and so, I am. That's it. So, even there, it is not the lineage, but the guru who comes. So, for us, the concept of the guru is very, very important. Okay. Not that the ancestors are not important, they are. If you go, it has to come from, the whole family tree is to be mapped out. But then it comes from a Gotra Udbhava who did that, and from where it comes, whose followings are more important for us. That comes. Okay. So, what is the Guru's role? How do you get that highest knowledge, and how do you seek that knowledge from that Guru? Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninastattva darshinaha. If you want that highest knowledge of the eternal self, going back to that whole this one, you go there, and it says prostrating, it means that out of a whole sort of Prayatapani Sharanam Prapadye Swasisambhadeshva Bhayanno Asto. There's a lot of respect and reverence. Shraddha, not reverence, probably Shraddha is a better word. And the spirit of inquiry. It could be inquiry, it could be inquiry. If it is pravritti, it is inquiry. If it is the spiritual self, it is inquiry. And with a sense of deep service. That is why even the kings or the highest order person who wants anything to learn goes there to a very deep state where he says, I have given all that up. My luxuries to come and serve you, please teach me. I'm willing to give up that service, that whole luxuries to learn. Without that, there is no learning. Very clear. Then the Guru will impart that what is there. So without an external guidance, it is not possible. The role of the Guru is that of a catalyst in a chemical process. That's how it is described. I have that chemical engineering background. So catalyst is something that does not change itself, but basically transforms a substance from one form to the other form by aiding, by being itself the substratum, so on and so forth. In fact, the best way to look at it, probably we'll do it when once I start the Vibhakti portions, I'll do the Ramayana, where we can go through the Vishwamitra taking care of Sri Rama in the whole when he takes them to the forest for the Tadaka Vada. How he takes care of them, what he does, the whole this one of Kaushalya Supraja Rama Purva Sadhya Pravartade Uttishta Taksha Dula Kartavyam Daiva Mahanikam, that what is Suprabhata, the first loka appears there in fact. So it's a very nice this one. So we'll probably do it when we do Vibhaktis. Okay. So this is one. In Viveka Chudamani we have this Ato Vicharak Kartavya Jigyaso Atma Vastunah Samasadhya Saya Sindhum Guru Brahma Viduttamam. So there is enough things about the Guru that is spoken about. Brahmanya Purata Shantaha. The guna of the Guru. How do I choose a good Guru? Yeah, that's a very important question. That usually comes. Yeah, you say, okay, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva, Maheshwara, and all those things are great, fantastic, nice. So who is that Guru? How do I go? How do I get to know this person is my Guru? The simple answer is that Shastras themselves say, when you are ready, the Guru will appear in front of you. As simple as that. The Guru will also choose you as much as you try to choose the Guru. And what is that characteristics? That is what Viveka Chudamani says here. Brahmanya Purataha Shantaha Nirindhana Iva Analaha. A fire without any fuel. Imagine that. A fire glowing without any fuel. So basically what it's saying is someone who is already in the know of things, entire know of things. That is his self glowing. Okay, enlightened, in other words. Okay, then okay, in the interest of time, skip this. Okay. Mundaka Upanishad says this. How does the word Guru itself comes about? Panini Sutra itself says, Gu is concealment. Ru means taking that concealment out. Okay. So, Gu Shabdastu Andakara Syat. Ru Shabdastu Nirodakaha. Andakara Niroditvat Guruhu Ityabhidiyate Iti Abhidiyate Andakara Nirodhatvat. Okay, Niroditvat Guruhu Iti Abhidiyate. This is what it means. Gu is andakara. That is basically there is something that is concealing the truth. Ru is something that will either light it up or take out that curtain or whatever it does. The concealment is broken. So that's what it comes. Tad vijnanartham sa gurumevavi gachet samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtham. This is very important. How do I approach the Guru? Approaching the Guru does not necessarily mean you need to take a lot of riches, you need to go offer and then I give you this much money, you give me that knowledge. No, it does not work that way. Samitta Panaye. You take Samit. Samit is basically that what you give as offering in the yajna to sticks and this. Why Samit? Samit is a proxy indicator of I want to burn out my karmas. Please help me teach how to burn out these karmas. Samittapanihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. One who is a Shrotriya, one who is a Brahmanishta, go to him like this. Tat Vijnanartham, to learn, to know, Guru Eva Abhigachet. Guru Iva Abhigachet. Go to him like this. Go near him. How? With Savittapani, with a source of this one, with Shrotriya, one who is Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. Okay. So, this is what is all that I had to share with everyone. Thank you so much, all of you, for attending and coming over and helping me learn so much about Sanatana Dharma in the process of bringing it. So thank you so much. I am grateful to all of you for helping me get to the state of putting these things together. So any questions, anything, more than happy to take.
I did not understand what was Chamaka Prashna.
Chamaka Prashna. I think, Mahoday, you missed the first session.
Maybe.
1 minute. Give me a minute. Okay. So what I will do, okay, it's already 8:32. I'll do the Mangalam. Okay.
Sure.
People who want to leave can leave. People who have questions can ask, and we can continue on it for a few minutes. So I have done a Vedic invocation. So I will do it's a Mangalam today. So I will do Om Samidyavase Vrishannak De Vishwan Yarya Ilaspade Samidyase Sano Vasunya Bhara Sankachadvam Samvadadvam Samvo Manam Sijanata Eva Bhagam Yatha Purve Sanjanana Upasate Samano Samani Samanam Samanas Manaschittameesha Om Swastik Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Yaena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Om Brahmanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavanto Kale Varshadu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasyashalini Deshoyam Shobharahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Aputra Putrinas Santu Pautrinaha Adhanat Sadanat Santu Jivantu Sharadam Shatam Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Harihi Om Shri Krishnarpanamastu, Shri Guru Charanarvindarpanamastu, Shri Gurubhyo Namah, Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha. People who are in a hurry can definitely leave. If you have questions, please, I'm available for a few more minutes. We can discuss.
Chalo. Dhanyavadaha. Shubharatri. Very interesting session.
Bhavati agatavati iti mama.
Sampurnataya agatavati.
Dhanyavadaha Mahodaye.
Very interesting. Thank you for including me.
Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha, Mahoday.
Good night.
Astu Mahoday. Astu. Shubharatri. Nilima Mahoday. Pritchatu.
So this Chamaka Prashna you have been mentioning now. So
I'll just show what Chamaka Prashna is. Give me a minute. So hold on. That came in where? Okay. Okay. I am not sure you attended this session. Did you, Mahodaya? I was busting some misconceptions
I
about it.
think I did. I did, but I think I did not follow that.
Okay, you did. Okay. Now I said, we don't. There is this popular misconception which says, following Sanatana Dharma requires austerities and a compromised lifestyle, and you cannot you cannot become famous, you cannot become this, you cannot become that, and all those things. Now, that is absolutely not true. First thing, we take with 100 hats, not 2. Very clear. We don't want just simple things. We want with 100 hats. But just as I said towards the end of today's session, we also give back with 1,000 hands. Okay, just that there's a difference between give and take. But then at the end of it does not mean we don't lead a good and a happy and a very good lifestyle. So what is Chamaka Prashna? Chamaka Prashna is basically that I'm sure you have heard of Rudra Prashna. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Om Namaste Rudra Manyo Uto Daishave Namaha. Namaste Astu Bhagavan Vishweshwaraya Mahadevaya Trembakaya Tripurantakaya. It goes on with about 300 names of Rudra. That's a Vedic invocation of Rudra. Immediately after that comes Chamaka Prashna. Agna Vishnu Sajosha Sema Vardantu Vangiraha Yumnairvaje Viragatam Vajascha me Prasavascha me Prasadischa me Pretischa me Prasidischa me Didischa me Kratuscha me Suvascha me Pranascha me Vanascha me. It goes on and on and on. For 300 names I have just chanted, I ask for 330 things in the whole 11 Anuvakas. Every time I am saying a may, I am asking for something. Okay? So, there is no, and it comes with so many things. I can give an example, Shancha me, Mayascha me, Priyancha me, Kamascha me, Kamascha me, so Manasascha me, Bhadrancha me, Shreyascha me, Vasyascha me, Yashascha me, Bhagascha me, Dravidancha me, Yantacha me, Dhartacha me, Kshemascha me, Dhritischa me, Vishwancha me, Mahascha me, Samvicha me, Yatrancha me, Suscha me, Prasuscha me, Sirancha me, Layascha Marutancha me, Amrutancha me, Ayakshmancha me, Namayacha me, Jivatuscha me, Dirgha Yutvancha me, Anamitrancha me, Abhayancha me, Sugancha me, Shayanancha me, Sushacha me, Tudirancha me. Asked for about 30 things in just this small Anuvaka. There are 11 like this, by the way. Okay. So this is something that I was quoting as an anecdote here also, that somebody asked me how we were talking about, how do you become rich? You can't just become rich by simply becoming rich. It's of no use. That richness should have a lot of peripheral things around it. First of all, Shanchame, only good things should be there. Mayascha me, Ritancha me, Amritancha me, and I should Kamascha me. That is, I should earn out of my own desires and my own interest. I don't want somebody else's thing. As I just said, I don't want to be stealing somebody else's and keeping it. No. Okay. Then I want only good and right things. And I also want the right kind of environment around me before I have it. Once I have it, having had that, Dravidanchave, I want to become famous. I want to tell everyone in the world. Correct? I don't want to be just, rich and be myself and sleeping somewhere and be afraid of things. Abhayanchame. I want to be Abhaya in spite of that riches. Right? Having got all this, then I want Anamitra. People, Mitra is 1. Amitra is 4. Anamitra are those who are with me and always with me, who will even protect me. Right? I want those kind of people. Then I also want Shayananchame, a good bed, a good this one. Sushachame, Sudinanchame, a very good sleep in the night. in spite of being rich. So there's a whole concept, framework around it that I want to be. Right, so this is where this whole concept of this austerities is not there. Then it comes, Ritanchame, give me ghee, give me this. There are at least about 30 things that you can ask, Madhuchame, Sagdishchame, Sabidishchame, and all those things. Give me all the dhanyas like wheat, the jowar, all the other things also. So that is what was Prashna concept. Yeah.
So Chamaka is not some person.
Huh? You're not audible, Mahodaya. How you are?
Chamaka. Why does it called the Chamaka Prashna?
Why do we call that Chamaka Prashna? Good question that I don't think I can answer that.
Okay.
That is, I do not know, frankly. It comes after the Rudra. Chame is, no, okay, I'll tell you why it is called. See, it goes with, the way Vedic Prashna is, this one is, it goes as Chame.
Okay.
As I said, with every cha and me, I'm asking something.
Okay.
So it's full of chames. So cha ma.
Okay. Okay.
At the gross level, that's what it would be.
Okay. Thank you. I thought it was name of some rishi or somebody. I just couldn't get it.
Huh?
I thought it was name of some rishi or somebody.
No.
Even I thought the same.
No. By
Yaksha
the way, yes,
Prashna like that.
there is a rishi by name Mahachamas. I don't know if you know this, but there's a rishi by name Mahachamas. Now, why is it called Mahachamas? Is because chamas is the long ladle. The one who had a long ladle, that is basically to do the
Yajna.
pouring the ghee. So he had a long this one, so he was named Mahachamas. So there are many names that come that way. So that's where Mahachamasya Pravedayate that comes in Taitya-upanishad.
So this was very enlightening, the whole thing, and I hope something else seep in.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Dhanyavadas.
Dhanyavadah Kartik Mahodaya. For the past 3 weeks, we had lovely session.
Yes. Thank you so
Very
much.
enlightening and informative and interesting. This is the start of the spiritual journey. So thank you so much. I have this question about the karma. See, now I know something, okay, whether I know 80%, 20%, whatever. I want to go back now or never want to come back. That is also a desire, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So is that also wrong? It also, makes more baggage or anything?
No, that's the beginning of giving up things. See, everything begins with that. Then you go about, give up that also. In fact, what Krishna says is, Traigunya Vishayat Vedaha Nishtraigунyo Bhavarjuna. Traigunya Vishayat Vedaha. Vedas are all about Sattva, Raja and Tamoguna concepts and getting things. From Tamo you come to Rajo, then you come to Sattva. He says, finally give up Sattva also. Only then you can cross that hurdle. So this whole concept of I am in Sattva, so I have become Mukti. No, that doesn't work. You have to give up that also. Okay. So that's where when you go into that state of Jnana, it is from, first you start with the Saguna Upasana. That is, you have a Murti, you have some form of a God, some form of this one. That's where you start with. We all need that. We are not people who will, suddenly one day everything is liberated and gone. No, that doesn't happen, right? We are not Ramana Maharshi as yet. So we need that concept, and slowly Saguna. Okay, now I have become Saguna. Now I have gone to that path. You give up that Saguna and start towards Nirguna. And then that is when the whole Mukti process happens. And that need not be just, how many, this one we do not know, but there are very beautiful ways. For instance, this comes in the lectures of Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda. When he came back from Chicago, I think all of us know he landed in Colombo. He had become famous at that point in time. So his first lecture at Colombo. Okay, there's a whole book, in fact, lectures from Colombo to Almora. Okay. Lecture series, Colombo to Almora lectures. There's a book by Swami Vivekananda of a compilation of lectures from Colombo to Almora. So he goes. So there was somebody, very young boy, who comes to that lecture, sits there. Vivekananda begins. His lecture starts with a statement that something like the subject is vast, the time is very limited. He just makes this statement. The boy sitting in the front row, nobody knows what happens. He just gets up and walks out. Becomes a very great scholar, Vedanti and Maharshi. That was his enlightenment. Okay. So when what happens and how that comes about is a very different story. Right. But the journey has to begin with, I need to get to that state. Okay.
Yeah. So being that said, I do not know how many more births I will have to take to attain that state. So can I still desire, okay, I am trying 200%. If it is not going to happen, I want to take a birth in this particular family for me to, get the teaching, knowledge, this, that. Can I desire
Beautiful
that?
question.
Or is that also?
Very good question. 4 sessions, I did not find this. Yes, what happens in the... this is the question which Arjuna asked. In fact, Arjuna was a very beautiful student. He had all sorts of logical questions. He says, okay, you're telling me all these great stories that this will happen, that will happen. Fantastic. I am grade 6 chapter, 38 sloka or something. You can read it up. Okay. Now, I am following all the yoga marga. I am following everything piously as you are saying. What if I die in between? Are you telling me all this was wasted? I mean, why did I even waste? At least I would have enjoyed sensual pleasures, no? Don't assume that Arjuna was dumb. He knew what he was asking, and that's why you need a teacher like Krishna there, right? And our Sanatana Dharma is very, very, very clear. It has clearly articulated these are all normal things that human beings will face. It never said don't ask. It never said stop yourself. It never gave you 10 commandments and said stop, will not talk. No talking further. No. You want? Come. As much as you want, you can talk. Whatever you want, you can ask. You keep on asking. But don't get into Vitanda Vada without Shraddha. Okay. So the answer that Krishna gives is, what is that? Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe, or rather, you'll be born in a very clean, pious, and very rich. When it says rich, it is all forms of richness, spiritual, material, all sorts of richness. Family, if you are practicing this, don't think that this was wasted and you are going away. That journey will continue. So don't worry about it. So it was this was articulated at the time when Krishna said, start this yoga. He said, why? Why should I waste my life? I want to enjoy. What if my prarabdha is over? Right? You can transform. So he says, slowly you will transform. Next month you will get into a better state. That's very, very clearly articulated. So no problem about it. We can start the journey. So there is no need to worry that, oh, okay, I could have at least enjoyed. There is no regret component here. So have the Shraddha, it will work.
Perfect. There is hope somewhere, not today, tomorrow, or at least after 10 births, it will happen. Yes. So thank you so much. It's very helpful.
Yeah, the only thing is the perspective to it and the attitude with which we see it. That's where I said it's all about how we articulate, and it's this labha, jaya, ajaya, victory, loss, or all these dualities are not, something that is there in the external. It is there in the internal. First thing. Second thing is about how we perceive it. Right? So, to give a small example, there is this small story where, some saint was going, some rishi was going somewhere, and there were two people who were there. One was a naughty fellow running all around doing nothing in life, just wasting his life. The other one was in deep tapas, doing a lot of penance and all that. So both of them same age, same this one, nothing else and all that. So the rishi comes and just wants to see around, and he meets them. So that fellow in pious, deep tapas and deep this one asks, when will I get mukti? When will I get moksha? So he says, I do not know. I'm just going to Narayana. I'm just going somewhere to that eternal this one. I'll find out on my way back. I'll give you the answer. Okay. Out of curiosity and just fun, the other fellow was wasting his life and doing nothing else. Asked, okay, can you do one thing? Can you ask me for me also and come back? On the way back, please do that also. So he said, okay, big deal. I'll go figure out what is there. He goes. Okay, so he goes and he returns. And these two are sitting. So both of them are the other fellow is not excited. This fellow is very excited because he's done so much of tapas. He's spent a lot of this one and all that. So he asks, when do you think I have this one? He says, 7 births later, you have mukti for yourself. That's what he says. He becomes extremely sad. The other fellow says, okay, 7 births, okay, great. Then what about me? He is like, what about me? He says. They're sitting under this people tree or some such thing. So he says, so the Muni says, the number of leaves on this tree, after so many births, as many number of leaves on this tree, you will get mukti. The fellow who heard 7 births got into depression. Okay. This fellow started jumping all of a sudden and said, I am liberated. So great, fantastic. So the rishi was a little confused. What's happening to both of them? One should be happy, the other should be sort of this one and all. So he asked, what happened to you? The first fellow, why are you depressed? Now you are getting so much. 7 births is too much. I have to live for so long and such a problematic thing. I have to go on. He said, yeah, that's the way. And he just sort of consoled him. So I asked the other fellow, what's happening? Why are you jumping? He said, I'm happy to hear that even I have mukti. So it's a perspective. So it is like whatever. So there is a way the way we perceive things and the way we look at things. So that's why I said the liking or the disliking or the doing or undoing of things is not in the object outside. It's or on the subject. It's within the subject. It's within us. So
So at the end of the day, we can also say that when I take another birth, anyway, we forget whatever happens in the previous birth. So can I also pray already, okay, whatever happens, please make me remember at least I'm going to that's still right.
You don't need to. That will automatically take. See, the beauty of this whole concept is that forgetfulness. Imagine if you could remember everything that had happened, how much depressed we would be. With this one itself, we are getting into so much of, why is this happening? Even if good things are happening, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Imagine you had a baggage of 100 births to remember. What would you keep doing? Oh, if only I had not done that, I would not have this. You know, how much of a loop we can get into.
100% true. Now I understand why we have that forgetfulness, and it's also good for us in a way.
Yes.
In fact, this one, what is that? I'll bring that shloka sometime next in some class. In the Shivananda Lahari, there's a beautiful shloka, Kshamarpana shloka. In fact, very, very beautifully Shankaracharya has described how we are in the mother's womb and what happens when we come out and what all we have done. It's a very beautiful, this one. I'll bring it some. So we can do that. So next week onwards, what we will do is I'll get into this vibhaktis. Vibhaktis we need to do as part of Vyakarna. So what I will do there is I'll bring Ramayana shlokas from Ramayana. We will do two things. One is the time that Sri Rama spends with Vishwamitra. As part of that, there's a narration of this Gangavatarana. So how Gange came into this one and all. We will do that. That will be a very interesting session, and there is a lot of learning that comes out of it. We can do that. Okay. So people who are interested, please join in. We'll start from the next week on that front. In February,
I would like to say that I think we are already on that path. I mean, the fact that we are listening to you and we have joined this class and are teaching us, I think this is leading us to that moksha sometime.
Mahodaya, that is the intent for everyone's journey. Everyone has their own journey and we'll all get there someday. So thank you so much. As I said, thank you all for giving me this opportunity to learn. Thank you so much.
Dhanyavad.